Uganda and Kenya are exploring cross-cultural tourism as a way of attracting more visitors within the two East African nations. Now, in here, they're looking at aspects such as traditional dances, traditional cuisines, and other traditional activities. Now, we'll be delving into details of that story in our subsequent shows. I'm Charles Boji. Welcome to the show. Now, the real estate sector is a very important sector for Uganda's economy. For years, this sector has been driving growth within this country. And for many, they look at it as the foundation, the basis upon which many businesses are built. Because if it's not land, a business is housed in a premise. Now, today, several sector players have raised certain concerns that need to be addressed to actually make this sector more supportive to Uganda's economy. And in this segment today, we're picking the mind of one of the sector gurus to find out what exactly are the ingredients that are needed to make this sector work.
We always say that the real estate is the anchor for economic growth, and the reason we say that is because of its multiplier effect on other sectors of the economy. So I would like to elaborate on that for just 1 minute. When you look at housing or real estate sector, immediately you look at the inputs into the sector. You are talking about iron, you're talking about steel, you're talking about ceramics, you're talking about bricks, you're talking about all these things that make a building stand up are manufactured through factories. So it means when you switch on housing, you switch on production in housing, in manufacturing. The other thing I would like you to look at is the issue of the inputs in terms of finance. Most of the real estate industry thrives on finance, borrowed money from the bank in order to build buildings. Therefore, the finance sector gets to work. Let us look at the professionals that are engaged into the real estate sector at the same time. The engineers, the architects, the surveyors, the real estate managers, the mansions, and even that lady or that gentleman who prepares food for these guys when they are building buildings, all of them are active at the same time. So in our view, even 40% or even more opposite of that, 60% of the roads that run around the country run around neighborhoods and housing estates or even neighborhoods where buildings are. So this 40% of the road network just connects city to city. So what we are saying is that the real estate sector is very crucial. Now, look at it in terms of the wood that is being used. It touches up forestry. So it means if you build more, you plant more trees, you harvest more trees, and so forth. Now, having said that, we work, play, and live, and even go to hospital in housing. Hospitals, schools, offices, houses where we sleep, schools where our children go, that is all real estate or construction. So what we are talking about here is a very sensitive sector. Now, the other thing is that it is highly intertwined into the land system, because buildings are built on land. So what happens is that it means formalization of land through the digitalization, for example, of the Uganda National Land Information System, and making sure that there is property rights and also security of tenure, that when I buy a plot of land, tomorrow I will not find a duplicate title. All those go along as people get to participate into the real estate sector. So when you do participate in the real estate sector, when you switch it on, it becomes very crucial for the economy. Now let us go to the public sector. How does the real estate industry benefit government? I have told you that the manufacturing gets switched on. It means you are able to levy VAT, you're able to levy income tax on all those companies that are producing all these materials, roofings, and all steelworks and cement and all that stuff. That is tax coming into government. But we also have some taxes that are laid on the real product, which is the housing itself. You have the property rates, which are actually generated by local governments, KCCA and others. You have rental income tax that is got by the URA. You have stamp duty on transfer of all these properties as they change hands. You have capital gains tax when actually you sell property for commercial value and so forth. Name it. So government is making a lot of money on that value chain. So we are saying this sector is very important, it's crucial. Anyone who wants to deal with it must deal it with care. Remember, it is only a land title with a property on it, or even with a vacant land, that is used for collateral for lending, borrowing money from the bank. The insurance companies, they insure all these kind of buildings and all these factories and all these warehouses and all these hospitals and etc. So even the insurance sector thrives a lot more also into the real estate. So when we are discussing it and we are passionate about it, it's not just because it's a profession, it is something that we realize that is very important. Let me just maybe for last point. When COVID was on, we were all told to go home. So it means housing is a basic need. It is housing, it is food, it is clothing. Now, once you have those and probably flowing water, the rest can follow. Over to you, Charles. That's what I think for now in terms of how the sector is important. Triggering growth, one, it means that we must be careful in how we tax the sector and how we incentivize the sector. One, in order to attract foreign direct investment or even domestic investment, people must be seeing an opportunity to make a fair return. And to make that fair return, it means you must give them incentives to do so. Now, from the developer's point of view, they would want utilities to be extended to their sites where they're building. Let the water be extended there. Let the power lines be extended there. Let the land be available in a pool. For example, if we have an investor who wants to do real estate development for mass production, 2,000 units of apartments or stuff like that, let's how to call private-public partnership. Land, water, power, so that you cushion down the cost, and that will be reflected in the price of the single unit at the end of the day. The other thing is, of course, succession itself. I have told you the layers of taxes which we already are experiencing. Adding another one is already a disincentive. So what should we be doing? Actually, probably reducing what we already have. But I leave that to the economists, because what I think is that if you see a sector that has a huge multiplier effect on other sectors, you can actually benchmark yourself on taking advantage of the other multiplier tax opportunities than direct taxing the sector and make people shy away. Because when they shy away, you lose all the taxes in the value chain. So my view is, someone who is thinking about this sector must know the multiplier effect and must know that actually it is a heartbeat to many things. Many people will speak about their sectors like that: tourism, agriculture, name it, services, as important as forth. But let me tell you, the truth is, even when we looked at the government departments and ministries, we have the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, and even physical planning also falls in there. Now, if we are to actually analyze the importance of such a ministry, you can see that everything starts and rotates around that ministry. It's land, it's buildings, it's urban development. We have a huge rural urban migration as we speak. Everyone is coming out from the villages, coming to urban centers. So the planning itself for those urban centers to ensure that the road networks in the new created cities, the land available for development, the plans to make sure that the roads are networked very well, all sits in that ministry.
The oil and gas sector has been touted as the silver bullet that will deal with a number of Uganda's challenges and problems, especially at this point in time. And in this segment, we're trying to find out the latest on the activities around the oil and gas sector in Uganda and how soon we'll be seeing the first oil coming out of the ground for commercial purposes. Uganda has witnessed a jump in the intensity of oil sector-related activities, even as the oil takes a bit of time to come out of the ground.
There is a massive drilling campaign that is now going on in the country. This drilling campaign has 4 drilling rigs, which are currently drilling for oil in the country, with a view to achieve first oil before the end of 2025. 3 of these rigs are drilling on the Tilenga project, and 1 rig is drilling on the Kingfisher project.
According to sector observers, even the capital injections made by sector players is testimony to the fact that the sector is still on track as the country eagerly awaits the commencement of commercial oil production.
The investments that are being put in these activities total to 1.85 billion in the year 2022. They totaled to 1.9 billion in the year 2023, and they are projected to total to 3.19 billion in this year 2024. I am trying to demonstrate the extent to which the intensity of the activities of the oil and gas sector in the country have intensified.
In January last year, Uganda launched its oil drilling program as the country races to meet its final oil output target next year. This is expected out of the Kingfisher field, which is part of the $10 billion scheme to build Uganda's oil reserves from Lake Albert and the pipeline to ship the crude to international markets via Tanzania. The country is also looking at tapping into the other sector-related products beyond oil for local utilization.
We are working together with the ministry to set up all the framework, all the frame agreement necessary to do commercialize LPG, which will be produced out of the Tilenga and Kingfisher project. On both projects, we are going to produce 100,000 tons of LPG per year, which is a quite important figure versus the current consumption in the country, which means it's a huge opportunity to substitute use of charcoal by LPG, improving health of a lot of people and also helping on the globally country.
For close to 20 years, Uganda has been eagerly waiting for the commencement of commercial oil production. And today, the sector activities offer hope that in 2025, the country should be able to tick this box.